Right? He should turn up to press conference 7 days a week because he's never going to earn this money. Matter of fact, I spoke to Steve Collins. Steve Collins didn't even get paid for fighting his dad, but he's getting paid to fight me. So if he can't be bothered to turn up that, he's got no goal in life. He's got no want in life. So therefore, he's just a little faggot. A little faggot.
Okay, Billy Joe. Okay, Billy Joe. Okay. T-Street Controversy Live. October the 3rd, 2014. So, Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank Jr. is official. 20-0 with 11 KOs. Billy Joe, the European boxing, I forgot the name of his belt, I'm sorry. But basically, he's the number one 160-pounder in the UK. And he has a title shot right around the corner for the WBO vacant right now, currently vacant. And what we're hearing is Matt Korobov is going to be taking on Andy Lee. Now before it's supposed to be Korobov and Quillen. Quillen dropped the belt. Then it was supposed to be Korobov and then Saunders. Then Korobov, Andre. Then Saunders, Korobov again. Now it's Chris Eubank Jr. versus Billy Joe Saunders. Chris Eubank Jr., let's just get this out of the way. Okay, all right. So we know it wasn't about the money. So then what was it about? You have Billy Joe Saunders, who's a top 15, top 20 fighter, who has the credibility of saying he's been 12 rounds multiple times, 10 rounds multiple times in 12-round fights. He's got the more credible resume. Then you have Chris Eubank Jr., the son of the UK's national treasure, Chris Eubank Sr. So you got this kid, and he's good for this level, okay? But I'm asking you, people who has watched him fight, he's fought 5 times this year in 2014. The fight with Billy Joe, it's official, he signed the contract October the 3rd. The fight with Billy Joe is supposed to take place on November the 29th on the undercard versus Tyson Fury versus Dereck Chisora 2. Now, this fight is very meaningful because the winner of this will be the number one 160-pounder in the UK and also will be the number one contender for the WBO 160-pound title. Now, Billy Joe already has that fight already had that fight right there. But he said in the press conference, let's get this Eubank guy out of the way. He keep talking all this shit. So basically, all right, well, let's fight him. The thing I like about Billy Joe is you can see he's really confident and like, yo, I'm going to beat him. You know, and when I do, if he wants a rematch, I'll give him a rematch. But he also said that if he loses to Chris Eubank, then he will retire because if he can't beat him, then he won't be a world champion. Here's the way I look at it. Now, it's going to be the tale of 2 fights. Billy Joe has had problems in the past. Even in his last fight, I covered it, and I forgot what the fighter name was, where he knocked him out, and Billy Joe only has 11 knockouts, and he's not known as being a knockout puncher, but conditioning and stamina. Now, he already said he spent a lot of money bringing people in to help him with that, and nutritionists and everything like that. But that's going to be the biggest thing, the conditioning and the stamina. He has the boxing skills, and also Chris Eubank Jr. can be hit. So even though Chris Eubank Jr. does all that showboating and that and stalking his prey, he can be hit. He's been hit by these journeymen. He's been tagged clean. So I'm thinking, okay, what happens when you go up and fight the better boxer? Now he's stepping up about 2-3 levels in competition when he's fighting Billy Joe. So I'm asking myself, okay, well, this kid has never fought a 10 or a 12 rounder. How does he match up? How does he match up with a better boxer than Billy Joe for better resume after the 6th round? See, you got to think, Billy Joe can gas too. He has gassed before, but he's won all his fights. No matter what, he's made it through. But to a guy that's never been that far, you know, how is he going to look doing all that? You know, and then what if Billy Joe comes out there and just says, okay, every time you do that dumbass shit, you know, all that, you know, jiving around and those flurries, I'm going to just tie you up. I see a fighter like Chris Eubank Jr. I say, okay, the way to beat him is going to be ugly, but I got to tie him up. So, you know, Eubank Jr., he fights in bursts, and I don't know if he can keep that up for 12 rounds. So he'll do a flurry, and it usually ends with an uppercut. Then he starts showboating around, and then he'll go for the finish off flurry. Now what he'll do is he'll play around with you, you know, the first, second round, depending on whenever he wants to get you out of there. But you clearly know that a lot of these people he's been fighting, he can get them out of there whenever he wants, because all they do is go into the turtle shell, and he just starts firing around it and up, you know, up around it and all that. So I'm thinking, what happens when he goes into that flurry? Then you say, okay, I'm going to tie him up, push him off spinning, you know. That's what I'm concerned about, because we see him, yes, it seems like he has all that talent, but he's somewhat one-dimensional. So for him, he is the underdog because he has more to prove to us. I don't go, it's hard for me to go for people that hasn't been to 12, 10 or 12 rounds. I have the same issues with a guy like Deontay Wilder. I say he can get up Romain Stavern out of there early, but Stavern have a better chance later on, as Wilder, he can't move as much and he starts lounging a little bit. Then maybe he starts holding, then he gets too close, he gives up the height advantage and gets himself knocked out with a right hook or something like that. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, Billy Joe is taking some punches. This kid can punch. But we have not seen him box consistently. So in order for Chris Eubank Jr. to win this fight, we're going to have to see a fighter we have not seen before. The guy that's saying, okay, I can still showboat and be serious too, and go out there and say, okay, I'm going to show y'all that I'm really a master boxer, because this is supposed to be a showcase for him. If he is going to be good, just like his father, then he is going to go on to win a title. After all, right now he's 17-0 with 12 knockouts. It's about time to start pursuing the title shot. And he also been saying he want to step up in competition. Remember, he's knocked out all 5 of his opponents this year in less than, I believe, 3 rounds. I've seen them. I don't remember all the rounds. I can't remember it right now. But if you don't know, I'm T-Street Controversy. I call the show T-Street Controversy Live. Working with Real Combat Media. The link is right below. All my videos are right below Real Combat Media. And all you have to do is just Google T-Street Controversy. Simple as that. So now that I introduced myself, I want to move on and say it's a 50-50 fight. But if I was to give anybody the advantage, I would give Billy Joe the advantage. Now, I know a lot of boxing fans get caught up in the fact that he's a power puncher. He's been knocking everybody out, though. Yes, there's a lot of, there's a lot of boxers that this happens to, where they start off all fast like this, and then what happened? They go get beat up by somebody, or they go get outclassed. I haven't seen a boxing showcase from Eubank Jr. where he fought someone and just, he didn't get, it was basically a pure boxing exhibition. I'm not saying that's who he's supposed to be. Follow me. I'm just saying that even with this lower level competition, I've seen flaws. And I think to myself, okay, well, if you got these flaws, then why are you playing around with these dudes and not knocking them out? And, I understand, he's got to come up and he's got to learn and everything. But all I'm saying is he can be hit. So I know people want to say, he's undefeated and everything like that. He can be hit. And we don't know how his conditioning is. And we don't know how his body holds up endurance-wise after he does some flurries. Because remember, what he'll do is, watch his fights. Even if it's only the 5 that he fought this year, you'll see him do this crazy flurry, and then he'll stop. But watch his chest, he's breathing. I'm looking like, and that's the stuff I'm looking at. I'm thinking like, okay, well, is he vulnerable after those flurries? Because he'll finish the guy off. I forgot the guy's name. Knocked him out the end of the fight with an uppercut. I posted it on my Facebook page. Link is right below. And I saw it was like I would say maybe a 10-punch flurry, a 10-punch combination. But afterwards, if he didn't knock him out, he was looking a little winded. So those are the questions I'm asking myself about him. And right now, Billy Joe just has the confidence of saying, listen, I'm not getting knocked out by him. And also, you have to think, where else was Chris Eubank Jr. going to go? Who else was he going to fight? That's bigger money than this. Realistically, to be honest with you, when it comes to the United States, I'm spreading his name over here. People don't really know. I'm not going to say people don't know who he is. Now, boxers, of course, but I'm talking about fans. They don't know who he is. Now, I'm telling you, he's fan-friendly. He fights on a station, a network, Boxnation. Unfortunately, we're in the United States. The reason why people don't know him because we can't see him. They got to do something that somebody can make a whole lot of money if they got the time to market and invest in a global boxing network. Now, I know when it comes to HBO and Showtime, and then I know the Al Heyman NBC Sports deal, but I'm talking about just like Boxnation can watch our American fights that we have to have Showtime and HBO, and they watch our pay-per-views. We need to have something over here where we can watch their fights and still have HBO and Showtime be able to show their fights. But I just want a network where we can see UK fights. I mean, not UK fights, but just overseas fights, period. No HBO, no Showtime. Leave that to them. But give me a network over here where I can watch all these fights because I have to go through hell and hot water. Like I said, I didn't get to watch Chris Eubank Sr. fights until like 2007. Because realistically, how was I going to watch him? What? Order the VHS? Order the cassette tapes? Like really? Or order the DVDs? Nah, I'm sorry. I'm a little thirsty, mouth was dry. Drinking this picote tea. I don't even know what it means. But it's like some orange flavor. It's ain't real bitter. Long story short, Chris Eubank Jr. has a lot to prove. I know I may seem a little critical, but I feel I have a legitimate logical reasons. Watch his fights. What I'm going to do is, I'm so busy, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to share his fights, all basically as many fights as I can of his on my Facebook like page. The link to that is all the way down at the bottom of the description box. Please, once again, T Street Controversy. The fight is official. It's going to be Tyson Fury versus Dereck Chisora, and I'm hoping Tyson Fury don't show up fat, especially on a big card like this. And then you got a fight that can be its own big sellout somewhere. You got Eubank Jr. versus Billy Joe Saunders, and I got Billy Joe. T Street Controversy Live.